Hey, how you doing? I'll be talking about my reading of Supply Chain Risk Management and Resiliency Playbook and answering the questions and I'll be answering questions from the homework assignments. And the first question will be, what are the potential disruptions to our supply chain? And it'll be natural causes, things that's going on throughout the world with the events, economic downturns, and suppliers downfall. And for some examples, we have either a flood, a fire, or another example that happened in Baltimore last year, the bridge fell down. So that'd be like a natural disaster. And also with being in Houston, I say Texas overall, they have a lot of floods. So with them type of floods, that'd be a natural disaster. And also I'll mention strikes. Like a lot of companies, a lot of workers are on strike, and that causes disruption in the supply chain. And another question would be like, how likely are these disruptions occur? I say frequently. So that's the whole point of the whole workers in the supply chain try their best to work on all problems that could potentially happen in the job so it won't happen. And they know how to prepare so they won't lose millions, billions of dollars, such as from the lesson that was provided in the lesson. We're also just being prepared. For example, from reading the book, the Teflon AB. Well, from the reading, we'll be talking, for another example from the reading, it'll be Phillips Macon Factory and how they lost a lot of money from a fire outbreak that caused 10 minutes. And that just goes from the natural disasters with a fire. And just for a smaller event, which is still big, could cause a major impact, which had them lose over millions and billions of dollars. And working from and learning from another company in 2001, Nokia, they helped this company lose less and also teach them like how to prepare for another disaster like this. And they help companies get money, but even though they still lost money, it's a domino effect. And with domino effect, if one thing happened, it's gonna affect somebody else, whether they're in the same city or another country. If they are working together, if somebody is slacking or something happened, it's affecting everybody. Which goes to my next question: what would be the impact of these disruptions on the business? And the impact would be like delayed shipments, increased costs, loss of revenue, customer dissatisfaction, and reputation damages. What would be the most vulnerable points in our supply chain? That would be just single sourcing suppliers, lack of visibility into like the suppliers. And the next question would be, how well do we understand our suppliers and their risks? Communication, knowing what's going on, make sure nobody's not getting hacked within the system, and making sure your finances correctly, as well as make sure the cost is reasonable. Next question would be, what are some key performance indicators that indicate supply chain health and relentless? It'll be, you can think of like Amazon, on-time delivery, inventory ratio, meaning like if they don't like this product, they can automatically ship it back, or if they don't like it, they can ship it right back, and they can ship the same product that was damaged, or they can just get credit, just so they won't lose the customer, because at the end of the day, the customer is important and need to be happy at all times and satisfied, just so they can build a better relationship, just so the company can grow. And yeah, the lead time, which goes back to you can say on-time delivery, whether it's to the company or to the customer. And you just want to stay on time and be prepared for delays. So always prepare for the unknown. I'll say, how can we diversify our supply base? And that will lead to supply chain relationships and building relationships, I should say. Because relationship is a key thing with supply chain. You gotta build relationships. You gotta get contracts with multiple companies, because you don't want to just have one main source with your transportation or your supplier. And if something happened, like I mentioned earlier, a fire might happen, a flood, or let's say a bridge might collapse again, and that was your main source. Now you losing even more money, and you losing money from getting more inventory to put out. You're losing money because of the natural disaster that happened, as well as you losing money from disaster company, and also lose money by trying to find somebody quick just so you could get some products out so you can get more money. So that also could lead to supply and demand, and the person or the company who you're looking for might charge a lot, but you in need of some inventory, so you're gonna you might just bite at the first price just because you're trying to get some revenue back, try to get some money that you lost back. It might not be all of it, but it's gonna be something. To the next question, like how can we build buffer inventory? And that goes to always preparing. You gotta be prepared at all times. Planning for the worst. You gotta have your plan A, your plan B, you gotta have plan A through plan Z. You always gotta be on your toes. You always gotta pivot no matter what, because you gotta have your plan down to the T, down pat. You can have your plan down pat, but a train might just crash on the way there. So you can only control things that you can control. The stuff that you can't control, you can't do much with it. So always just be prepared for the unknown, as well as just balance the inventory level to minimize stock outs while reducing carrying costs. Because you don't want to, yes, you want to be prepared, but you don't want to be over prepared where you fill up your whole warehouse. Now you sitting on a lot of inventory because you want to be too careful. Ain't nothing wrong with being careful, but you don't want to be too careful to the point where you can't get another inventory because your old inventory is taking up too much space. Now you might lose some money, but you're gonna have to just give it away or destroy it or just sell it at a lower price to get it out fast. So you don't want to really do that. The next question would be, what technology can we leverage to improve supply chain visibility and control? How the world moving now, it'll really be AI. Like, we using AI for everything, and the AI will really be more so for less draining, like in the mind. By giving it to AI, it's faster. It might give you more creative ways that you even thought of. Not taking away your creativity of how you make things, like how you create things, but with the AI, and make it move faster and give you a new type of idea, or put your idea and form it into a way it'd be explained to somebody if you're trying to work on building a pitch, or find just different ways to transport different products. And also just implementing trackers in the inventory, because a lot of people, to be honest, a lot of people be having their package being stolen, as well as people always want to know where their product is because they don't want to be delayed. And say if your package is in one state and it's not coming through, that's the point of you calling the company and letting them know, like, your product have not been moved in 3 days. You want to know what's going on. So having a tracker and making sure the company you talk to is very reliable. The next question would be, how can we improve communication and collaboration with suppliers and partners? That just go with just building something genuine. Like, yeah, it's a business, so you think about the money, but all money not good money. So you want to build a genuine connection with the suppliers and a partner, because you relying on them, you trusting them with your company, and your company is basically your baby. So you want to build that bond, and also conduct regular risk assessment meetings with the other partners that you're working on building, just so y'all can have a better understanding of both ends of the personnel, your personality and theirs, and keeping this update just so nobody slacking, or if somebody had a miscommunication or misunderstanding. That's the whole point of the communicating, whether it's just Zooms or just having Zoom or just a face-to-face meeting. And next question would be like, how can we develop a continued genuineness plan for different scenarios? The same thing like I stated earlier, just be prepared for the unknown. So say, for example, a plane might crash. Okay, what's your next step? Okay, you got to figure out where is the closest location to get some inventory that's fast, or can we build another warehouse, and how far can this warehouse be, just so for things like that, if it do happen, we won't lose days of making revenue. How can we improve our ability to quickly recover from the disruption? Emergency fund, insurance, the formula of how you created your first product, if you are making products, or having your blueprint on how you want to move with transportation, your different style, like, okay, different ways of transportation. Going for my last 3 questions. How will we monitor the performance of our supply chain? Relentless strategies. Just you could go into it like the tracker, and just make sure we have on time delivery and variability. And I'll say that with it. And the next question would be, how will we continuously improve our supply chain risk and relentlessly management? And it really just update the risk assessments just for new threats going, and train employees on a crisis, because you're gonna have new employees every few months, periodically, like, so you want to make sure all your trainers are understanding of each scenario and being prepared for any crisis, just so they can train the next upcoming employee, just so you won't lose no money and you won't lose a customer. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure the customer is happy, and you want to also make sure your employees / team members is learn more about the company. And because you say, for example, you might be sick, and this trainer is the new employee who was getting trained is now put in position, like, now it's their time to show up in this time of crisis. So things like that, just make sure the upcoming employees future who are getting trained correctly. And the last question would be like, what are the key metrics we should track to measure the success of Playbook, which is mean time to recover, percentage of supply disruptions successfully mitigated, overall costs, impact of supply chain risk, and supply chain risk score. Because, even the small events can have a cumulative effect on an organization performance and eventually a long-term survival. So that'll be all with all the questions that I answered. And yeah.